to this computer. Okay, we're ready.
And welcome, everyone, and welcome to Light Speaks. This is episode 3, and I have a special guest here named Rosemary DeTrolio. Light Speaks is a energy-based podcast where we talk about women's empowerment, energy medicine, holistic healing, and wellness, and raising the vibration to a 5D consciousness. And we have, like I said, Rosemary DeTrolio here with us. Rosemary, please introduce yourself and give us a background. I'm so excited to have you. Thank you for coming.
Certainly. I'm so excited to see you, Roshni, and you're going to be my guest on my podcast in
I'm
about
so
3
excited.
weeks, and I'm so excited to have your message get out there as well. So I'm a
Absolutely.
Reiki master teacher located in New Jersey. I've been working with Reiki since 1997 or 1996 about, and I've been channeling the angel realm since 1993. I'm also an author. I do workshops, podcasts, one-to-one sessions, transformational guidance, angel communication, and a host of other types of workshops and self-studies on my website. So I'm really excited for this opportunity today to tell you about more about the angel realm, what I do, and how light workers are all gathering. So I channeled this morning a quick message which so matched what we were just speaking about before we recorded. So I want to read it. It says,
Yes.
we, the force of angels, are joining with the forces of humanity to raise the frequency and vibration on the earth. Light workers are called together to bring truth and awareness. Do not let the opposing forces discourage you from your mission. This too is part of the plan, and free will operates. That's what I got this morning.
Wow.
Exactly
I
what
just
we
got
talked
goosebumps
about.
all the way
I
down.
know, it's exactly what we spoke about this morning about gathering the forces. It's probably one of the reasons why so many people in the healing field now are called to get out there and do these podcasts, because we're connecting with a larger audience and we're connecting with each other, which is really powerful.
And I love that. And what the most important thing for me, I just wanted to introduce myself as well. Is my name is Roshni Sharma-Fleming. I'm the CEO and founder of Still Fire Healing Inc. And we work holistically with women transitioning from their health journeys and their career transitions. So we are helping them to scaffold healing journeys in through energy medicine. So thank you again, Rosemary, for joining us. So let's talk a little bit more of some of these tools that have come to light. The tool, for example, of channeling angel messages. How does that
Mhm.
help the 3D physical human being these days?
Awesome. So I've been doing these messages since like 1993. So I have a long period of where I've been channeling. And what happens is the angels will tell me information that's going to help a person move forward, so that they're more aware of their blocks and gifts and their past lives, which also comes in through Akashic record reading. And if the past life they have impacts who they are now, that information will also come through. So I found some really interesting soul group information about families. I found people's personalities and how they impact or chose a certain personality for this lifetime to help them gain messages and clarity for things they're going through now. Um, Oftentimes when I do a reading for one person, they send me all their family members. So I've done several, they're all referral readings for people in families. Part of the way that it helps is once you realize that some of the fears we have, we take back with us to revisit them, just so we can integrate who we are now and what our mission is that we're here to accomplish. And it's in your blueprint. Your blueprint is your life record that you come in with, and you write in there, I want to learn this and this and this, and this is where I am, and I chose this person and these parents. So our blueprint holds a lot of what we decide that we want to do before we get here. And then, of course, we're here, and a lot of people lose their courage and they're like, well, what the heck did I do? Why did I pick this situation? And why am I with this person? And why do I have to go through that? And they start getting angry, and that pulls them off of their path for a while. And many times they're pulled back to it. They're pulled back through a health crisis, a situation in their life where they need change, but something will bring them back to, oh yeah, that's why I'm here. And that's called the awakening that people are going through now to a great degree. And they're all winding up, in our doors because they need that guidance that we can provide that they didn't have.
I
So,
love that. And when you're providing guidance as well, and we hold space for those souls who want to come back. Indeed, that light workers have to come together to support each other because
mhm,
energy of those situations can be overwhelming, can have other opposing forces to block that person.
that's right.
How do you um, help balance a person out when they're facing those opposing energies within themselves?
Okay, so one thing is it's a free will choice. So when a
Yeah.
person comes for help, they will accept whatever they're ready to accept at a certain time. It's not on my timetable. It may not even be on theirs. They may want to like, swiftly pass through everything. But part of the learning is accepting these lessons that are difficult and integrating them and walking through them anyway. So even if a situation is difficult, sometimes it's necessary for soul growth. And that is also in the case of a parent that may have a child with a disability, or they go through a health crisis that's very, very tragic for them, and they don't know what to do about it. So sometimes those particular situations, our soul is using them for soul growth. So when we cross over, we bring this light that we've gleaned from this lifetime into the great field of light, which is like an ocean. I say that God is not a person, it's an ocean. It's an ocean of energy that infuses everything on earth, all living things. So when we cross over, we take with us anything that our soul has gleaned or learned through this lifetime, and we bring it back as a gift. And then when we're poured back into these new little containers called bodies, we accept again the walk on earth, which is the school, and we bring that back into learning and what we need to harness for ourselves and to
What
help
a
other
beautiful,
people.
sorry. I cut you off on the last little bit. And
Okay.
two, when you, the at the end you were saying you help people, and they are the metaphor that you used was you're pouring back. What a
Bring back.
beautiful
Yeah. Yeah.
way to look at the physical body, because really, and we both know this, and many do now, especially, that we're
Containers.
spiritual beings, right? And
Hmm.
the body is just the container.
That's right.
And how does that affect human potential once somebody gets their head around that they are not just within their physical space, and
Hmm.
they are understanding that they are beyond what the
Hmm.
physical 3D realm is showing them? How would that affect human potential?
What's so amazing to me is like we come in, we're poured into this container, and the angels refer to us as the vessel, the clay vessel for this energy of God, right? And we have a personality that we come in with. And that's exactly the thing that kicks our behind when we're here because we have this strong ego. And that's the thing that interferes with sometimes the intuitive knowing, the God within us, the connection to spirit, right? So the choice is to allow our intuitive insight to guide us, to allow this information to flow through, and to not be so darn stubborn because our stubbornness is exactly what blocks us. And that, our personality, if we come in with a very strong personality, like, I know this and I'm not going to do that, and we're really a skeptical type of person, that type of person takes longer to allow themselves the ability to be open to this information that is there for us, but we forget that it's there for us. So part of our journey is to allow and to release this ego that we all come in with through our personality to allow us to have this information flow through. And if you follow it, it's a much easier path if you follow it. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely. And now you and I are both Reiki masters. Can you give us some
Mhm.
background on Reiki? I do.
Yes,
I do. I'm a Usui Reiki master,
me
and
too.
there are different grades of
Mhm.
Reiki. Not one is not more powerful than the other because we
Mhm.
know it's under the umbrella of love.
That's right.
What is your, my question about
Huge.
Reiki is twofold, is what is it
Okay.
for my listeners? And second is, how can people move beyond the woo woo of Reiki so that it comes into their daily practice or into
Hmm.
their uh, healthcare routines, because I
Right.
believe that this is something that is lacking
Hmm.
with people, especially when they are, like you said, the ego's coming in saying, "Hey, you don't need love, you just need me," right?
Right.
And so, can you give me the
Yes.
background and how people can adopt that into their daily lives?
Absolutely. So I learned Reiki back in 95, 96. So somewhere along there, I learned it, right? And I went through all the levels through the next couple years. At the time, no one really knew what this was. It was just considered energy modality. In our early hospitals in New Jersey, they were using what was called therapeutic touch, and that was, I think, Barbara
Mhm.
Brennan, right? So some of the nurses were familiar with that. So as I learned it, I decided I was going to also teach it. So a lot of people started coming to me to learn it. So I've trained people in all aspects. Now in New Jersey, we're pretty lucky because I've trained a lot of doctors and nurses, chiropractors, acupuncturists, and people from all sorts of backgrounds. And they've done research also to know that Reiki, which is this energy placement of hands, also helps a body to balance. And the research shows that it calms the parasympathetic nervous system so that the body can reach a state of wellness and a body can accept healing in a greater degree. So, with that in mind, they were using it in hospice and pain management. I have personal experience using Reiki on people that before they pass, because my father, my and a couple of my friends that were facing death. I used it right before they died, like a day before. It's great for pain management. So it's used in hospice and it's also used just for stressed out people and also to help the body maintain a state of wellness. And because it has measurable effects related to patient testimonial and all that, it's been more credible for people that are very left brain. There's also a woman who I took a course out in Omega Center in New York State, and I don't know if Beth Israel is still operating. I think they're closing down, but at one point
Oh,
she had a huge Reiki clinic in Beth Israel Hospital in New York. And she was a Reiki person and she gathered all the Reiki people who did different styles of Reiki. Okay, so my style is traditional Yasui Reiki. That's the way I was trained.
yes.
But she took people of all different backgrounds of Reiki and she brought them in and said, okay, instead of doing the whole body, we're going to focus on some of the quick fix ways to work on a person that comes into the clinic. So we're going to work on head, we're going to work on heart center, we're going to work on first chakra. And then we're going to ground the
Yes.
person and clear them and send them home. So she trained everyone who had different modalities and different ways of working to do a simple method like that. And she did it for many reasons, helping women with going through cancer and wellness. Now, I personally used it on a lot of people who had cancer, nervousness, and anxiety. I've used it just for people's maintenance of their body. It's amazing how it works and how the energy of it can help a person have um, I guess, a new outlook when they leave and more of a sense of hope, love, and possibility. And for that reason, it's really a powerful modality. It also works long distance. So it's really interesting to know that you can actually send this energy from my computer or my home to you, and it will have an effect because of quantum physics and the entrainment of, molecules molecules at a distance will interact with each other. So quantum physics is helping us as healers to say, see, look, science is just figuring this out, but we always knew it. So that's
I
what
love
that's what I was going to say.
What a beautiful summary of it, and I think your summary is an excellent teaching, and it'll encapsulate what people need to learn. And I think, what I'm always curious about is when we do the education, do people already come with a set level of holistic and healing modalities, or
Mm-mm.
is it our job to also teach? Because I think sometimes when they come carte blanche, the fear might set in. So how do light
Okay.
workers overcome these challenges? I even had to explain to a friend the other day. I said, I'm going to check your chakras, and they answered, "What are those?"
Yeah. So
Right?
you,
And
so
so there is this knowledge that is,
yeah,
we have it because we talk about it
right.
always, right? And we're
Yes,
always playing with it. We play with the energy. We talk with angels. We look at synchronicities. We have all this light language that's coming through, but there's a lot of people who just
most.
don't.
And the
So
ones
I
that
send
need
them
it
a
don't
graphic.
have it. Yes, the ones that need it probably are newbies that don't have that information. But they'll come to
Yeah.
me and first they'll come in usually for sessions. And after I've worked with them, they realize that there's something powerful that happens, but they don't really know why or what's happening. And I might mention to them, do you know this is easy to learn? And I train
Yes.
people. When I train people, I'm very consistent because I was a school teacher for 32 years. So when
Yes.
I teach it and they know what they're doing when they're done with it, you know? So what I
Yes.
do is I make sure that when I teach my first level people, we talk about grounding, we talk about energy bubbles, we practice, we speak about the chakras and what they are and what is this thing called chakras. A lot of people that do yoga have an idea of what chakras are. So there's a lot of people doing yoga around here and that's helpful. But even if they don't, on my first level, I teach the chakras and how they relate to energy. So they have that basis with the first part of my class. The second part of my class is when I have someone in and we work on people and we experience what it is to send Reiki and to feel how this works. Thankfully, I was trained by a phenomenal teacher years ago. My friend Vivian, she was fantastic, and she was also quite intuitive and just a wonderful person. So she trained me through all the levels. And I've trained many people who have their own businesses all the way up to master teacher. So, I always take it real seriously. When you train somebody, I don't want them to go back and be confused. So I want to make sure they contact me. They tell me how they're feeling after I attune them. They bounce a question off me if they're stuck. And that's part of their learning and part of my job as their teacher. So that's what I do.
I love that. And I think that the educational piece as well is vital because
Yes.
that opens the mind as well. And it's not about the quantity of knowledge, it's the quality of knowledge that's coming, especially these days, because people are opening up, people are awake, people are saying, oh, there's more to what we have shown
Yes.
each other. There's more energy around. There is more than this illusion of the 3D planet. My question next is related to science.
Okay.
So, how could science
Mm-hmm.
and light work come together to
Mm-hmm.
heal physical ailments? You and I both know
Mm-hmm.
that the light body can
Mm-hmm.
actually, and there's been studies about this as well, that the light body can actually inform the physical body if it's channeled properly. The energy is
Mhm,
channeled properly,
mhm,
that people can heal. People are healing themselves. I've seen
mhm.
this. I've not studied the actual statistics as yet, but people are starting to heal themselves. How do you see science and our
Mhm.
work integrating?
I love it. So first thing, if people discover and learn about quantum physics, and quantum physics for dummies, what I like to say, because it has to be understandable for the layperson. But if you look
Yeah.
up some of the research on entanglement and quantum physics, you will understand the process of energy moving through time and space. The other thing
Yes.
is about 15 years ago, I channeled the angels, and they said the forefront of medicine is going to be light and color therapy and sound, because
Yes.
sound breaks vibrations. One of my guests this coming week on my podcast is my friend Ruth, a vibrational sound therapist. And we've paired
Yes.
up with sound and Reiki. We're doing an event on June 1st at her place where I'm doing Reiki while she's doing the bowls. And it's an
Wow.
amazing combination of two really powerful modalities together, but the sound entrains the body and brings the system back to where it should be. Red light therapy
Yes.
is another area that's really, you're going to hear more about that. Scholar waves is another area that you're going to be hearing about. But I channeled this years ago and they said, listen, it's coming, but people have to like open to it and we're getting the word out. They just have to do it, kind of thing. But you also think about even lasers during surgery, red light laser therapy. You know, when someone cuts open and they're not cutting you, they're using a laser. All this stuff is basically not too old, but yet
No,
that idea has been around. So using light, color, and sound, I think, is going to be the forefront of medicine. And I think that other countries are probably ahead of us as far as their openness to it, but I believe it'll come around. I also have trained enough nurses where they're going to filter into the doctors to kind of shift them a little bit on their mindset. And I think once the medical allows more alternative things into their how they get paid and stuff, I think it's going to be a lot better. There has to be a joining of alternative and traditional in order to have the highest rate of healing and the highest rate of what's right for a patient. You can't like keep like putting band-aids and medicating when they're not addressing the cause. And a lot of times illness starts on a very an energetic level that if it's not dealt with, it becomes a physical ailment. You know, you think of like
yes,
a liver holding anger and your back holding lack of support and your head holding overthinking. So our bodies hold energy in different places. And if you don't deal with that energy and release it, it can get stuck and become a physical problem. So not all of them
yes,
are, of course, but it's good to have this information because as soon as you get sick, you're like, oh, my knee's hurting. I must have a fear. Or I'm shouldering too much of a burden. My shoulder hurts. So I train people to look at the body like a system that clues you in when your brain can't. You know, it's kind of like the first line of defense when something bothers you. So for that
I
reason,
love
I think it's, you know, it's a good thing to learn.
some of the more mainstream diseases that we are seeing more and more of. Let's take breast cancer, for example.
Hmm. Yeah.
Women are suffering quite
Yes.
a bit
Absolutely.
and continue to suffer.
Hmm.
From an energy perspective, women in my studies and in my passions and also podcasting with different uh, ceremonialists and high priestesses, women have been hurt through history, like historically speaking, women
Hmm.
have been hurt. We've been wounded, we've been asked to stuff down,
Hmm.
uh, all of the gifts that we've been given. And women, I think, are tired of that. We wear so many hats at any given time during the day or any given moment in our lifetime, a mother, daughter,
Hmm.
grandmother,
Hmm.
and we wear all of these things. And we are forgetting that the wounds that have been inflicted upon us historically still need attention in order for us to come and step and become fully embodied. So, my question to you is, if breast cancer is a symptom of a wounded feminine energetically,
Hmm.
what can we do as light workers that could help women in that particular disease? Like, this is something that is
Hmm.
rampant.
Yeah.
Um, and the dis-ease, as Louise Hay says it, the
Yes.
dis-ease in the body related to breast cancer is joy, the
Yes.
joy of being a woman. How
Yeah.
do we claim that energetically?
You know, I look at it like the whole body. So you think of your breast, you think of your heart energy. So many times a breast will manifest like in the left breast, closer to
Yeah.
where the heart center is. Like we have our upper heart and our heart area. And you think of the sense of joy. I know sometimes, like in men, lack of joy might manifest not only through family lines, but as a prostate issue or
Oh,
something related to sadness. Lungs will hold sadness and despair.
yeah.
You know, I think there's so many connections, not only energetically, but you think when your own body's vibration goes down because you're sad, the body will click on different things that ancestrally might be in your DNA that would not turn on if you were in a different state of mind. You know,
Wow.
I've seen this happen. If you listen to some of the research of Bruce Lipton, where he talks about how the where the cell lives, in other words, the environment of a cell, He speaks on that even if you have this, and that in your DNA, it doesn't mean you're going to get that. It means that you have to be mindful of where your mindset and your body and your health is so that this condition doesn't click on. And I believe that when people have spontaneous healings, the condition turns off. And I can't imagine, like, facing a very bad illness, how frightening it must be. And to keep that mindset positive, it's amazing that people could even do that. But that again is part of the reason some people heal and some people may not. People that have a more positive mindset have a better fare with anything they go through, including illness. And a lot of doctors will tell you a person with a more positive, stubborn mindset, in fact, for getting well, will probably live longer and do better. I know my father lived for probably 10 or 11 years after his first diagnosis of prostate cancer. And, lung got him too, so, but he lived 10 or 11 years more because of his mindset being so positive. And I really do believe that. It's only when he started getting like really beaten down and emotionally sad is when he passed. So I do believe that that has a lot to do with how we fare. Not in all cases. I know people are going to listen saying, "Oh my gosh, how come I lost so and so?" I lost a sister to cancer when I was a little girl. I was 3, and she was treated traditionally like in the 1950s, and she passed. And there was nothing, that was available at that time, holistically or any other way, other than traditional chemo, which was very harsh for her. So,
Yes.
I don't know, it's not a blanket statement for everyone, but I do think when an illness hits, as an energy worker or as a person, I would look at what am I going through emotionally right now? How am I feeling? And how can I lift my vibration so I feel better, at least have a better chance of surviving longer with a more positive mindset and hopefully heal. But again, it's up to God whether we cross over or not. And if it's our time or we have these exit points, is it actually my final time or can I come back? And that's another thing that is very interesting to me, speaking with people that have crossed over, is that we do have a lot of free will, even at the time of death, if it's not our final exit point.
Yes, I love that. So beautiful. And you alluded to something that's very curious to me as well, is when can disease be avoided if the ego doesn't attach to feelings
I
and
don't
create the
know
story?
because I always consider it's a two-edged sword. So, fear and love can't exist in the same place, right? One is not the same as the other. However,
Correct.
because we are emotional and we have these emotions, do I want to not have emotions at all? Because sometimes I need to feel a negative emotion and learn from it. So I do
True.
believe that the whole range of emotions, there's no bad emotions. It's just staying with that sadness or that anger. That's the thing that gets us. So when anger hits or upsetness hits, the more quickly you can understand the lesson from what you're going through and let it go, the healthier, emotionally healthier you will feel and be. And I do believe that. People that stuff feelings, they often get colitis or stomach issues or all kinds of things because they're not letting it go. You have to forgive and let things go, or else it's going to eat you up from the inside.
Yes, and I think you're absolutely right. And we know that suppressed emotions can cause a whole slew of different ailments and create different drama for
Yes,
sure.
yes,
And it's we can't say that it's unhealthy to suppress emotions, but humans, I think we are, and some of us can, and I am, just because I'm a light worker, that doesn't mean I don't struggle either.
we all do. Sure.
And we all do, right? And that we have to say that people might think that, we sit on top of a mountain and spread light and joy
I
and
don't
all
think
of that.
anybody's ever thought about that knows me. They're like, oh, I could tell her stuff.
Right? And like people are like, "Oh, you're so positive. How do
Oh
you do that?" And I'm like,
no.
but people need to do their inner work as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Even if I look to you, Rosemary, and I say, I'm going to Rosemary because I feel some blockages and all of that,
Mhm.
but something within yourself, if you're listening to yourself and really in tune with yourself, which the intuitiveness again has to be cultivated because it's like almost
Mhm.
like a muscle, right?
That's
If
right.
you tune into your intuitive muscle, it'll keep working for you and it'll be
Yes,
something that you'll be like, oh, this is something I really need, right? And
yes, yes.
this is a tricky thing for humans. And I think uh, we are definitely, I would say there's a bit of a split before we come back to more of a
Mm-hmm.
unified type of consciousness, which is actually happening now. I
Yes.
have actually physically felt that,
Yeah.
where it's just coming together and it's going to get messy in between. How do we as humans um, step gracefully in these stages when we are going through these different emotions, when we are feeling overwhelmed?
Mm.
We know we're going somewhere. We know that the past exists. We know the future exists. How do we as humans stay present? Do you have any
Um,
practical tips?
I always say when you're going through hell, keep walking because you don't want to stay there. So, so I think you have to.
I love.
You don't want to stay there. So I wrote something in my I have a couple spiritual books and one of them is if you buy a ticket to hell, if you buy a ticket and you're trying to get to paradise, don't buy a ticket to hell. And many of us wind up and we're like, how did I get here? What happened? So the thing is, whatever you go through, don't stay put with that negative energy. As quickly as you can, start thinking of what you're learning from it, why it's appeared to you, and what the lesson is. Because if you don't do that, you stay stuck. And then you go into resenting the situation, which is just counterintuitive and negative. It's not going to shift you. So when you go through something, say, what did I learn about myself? What did I learn about the other person? How can I either heal or step away from the situation? What people or resources can I go to that can help to shift my mindset when I'm feeling sad? Because I thank God I have a couple of very good friends that, when something bothers me, and I don't, I'm one of those people that it takes a lot to really upset me.
Me
But when
too.
I'm upset, I kind of just want to hide, and I don't want to
Yeah.
burden anybody. And I've learned that that's not the best thing. Sometimes when you're in that space, you have to go to a friend or call someone and say, listen, I feel stuck and I'm really upset. What can I do? And if you have good friends in life, thank God they will help you. They will kick you in the tush if you need it and say, listen, pull yourself out of this. You're better than this. You know you are. You're strong. And they'll kind of give you those words of affirmation that you may really need and you may not be getting from your family members, your loved ones, people that you really need it from. You're not getting it. But friends will pull you through. There's also wonderful counselors and social workers and awesome people that you can go to that can help to shift you in those times. And that's the lesson is that no one is safe, and that's why we're on Earth. We're all here. We all came in with lessons. We all came in to learn from each other. And sometimes, you're the person that gets the lesson, and sometimes you're the one that gives it. You don't know. But it's part of in our plan, and the idea is to learn it and shift from it. And that's really how you transform and raise your vibration. You can't stay
Yes.
stuck.
I love the idea of that's just in the plan, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you lie down and take everything and say, "Oh,
Yeah.
poor me," and become a victim of your circumstances. It is a part of your plan. And if you come to some general level of acceptance about that, I think that's the first step in healing with light, right? It's just
Yes.
accepting what it is. And
Yeah.
then you're almost you're transmuting that into ways that help you to cope with what's happening. And again, I'm not immune to the challenges either, especially
Mhm.
during and after COVID. Wow, what a
Mhm.
transition period it was, right? And for
Yeah.
everyone, it still continues to be this.
Yeah. I thank God I was very healthy during COVID because that could have
Yes,
really thrown me if I wasn't. But what I
I
used
know.
it instead was I live in a rural area and I used it to walk every day. I used it to learn how to use Zoom. So I wrote a book during COVID. So that's where I got Wisdom Sages and Angels and Divine Messengers. And my other one is Inspired a Book from the Heart. Inspired by Angels, a book from the heart. So I wrote that second book
Mhm.
during COVID. And I've just used it as an opportunity that I can learn and see people a different way. So I think the
Mm,
part is when you go through something, you've got to look for that bright spot of how it can help you or someone else. So usually if I'm feeling sad about myself, I call someone to make them feel better. Or I'll do something nice for somebody. Like if I need money, I give something away. So you have to do the opposite energy to shift not only you, but that other person. And that's
yes,
really powerful. The other thing
it
is, you
is.
think about our childhood lessons. Like I was a super, super quiet person as a child. And
Me too.
now I became a teacher. I became someone that, was an educator and I'm doing podcasts and I'm talking all the time. But
Yeah.
when I was younger, I was really shy. I was tiny. I was the tiniest kid in my class. They thought I was a lot younger than I was because I was so little. And I kind of I used that opportunity to learn that I had to speak up and learn how to be me and not feel bad about it in order for me to do the things I want to do in life. And that was part of my lesson. And it still is,
Wow.
you know?
I love that you recognized that this is a lesson. How does someone delineate lesson from punishment?
I don't believe we're punished. Now, as
Okay.
crazy as it sounds, now I know people are going to differ because they've been through some really awful things. So I'm not
Sure.
discounting if someone's gone through something really bad. Here's the
Sure.
way to look at it. All right, we're here to learn. So if we come in with a blueprint and we're here to learn and to bring light back when we go, anything you go through in your life is for the purpose of helping yourself, helping other people, and connecting. All right. If something bad happens, it could be that you're playing a part in someone else's blueprint, or
Mm,
it was necessary for you because in some past life, maybe you had a problem with that person and you owe them karma. So there's a lot playing as far as karmic
absolutely.
lessons that we go through. And I always say
Yes.
karma sounds like a nice coffee flavor, doesn't it? But it talks about cause and effect, and it's not about
Yes.
punishment. So there's cause and
Yes.
effect, and we are not punished. We are always loved. The angels are always there to help us, but when you're
Yeah.
going through it, it feels like you're getting kicked in the tush. So just have
Absolutely.
to
Yeah.
remember it's okay. It's part of what I'm supposed to learn here. And
I
that
love
that's really the thing that helps us to get through a lot of things that we don't want to go through.
I'm really happy you said that because people they'll get into like a victim
Oh
type of
yeah.
thinking. It's
Mhm.
like poor me and I'm not immune to that either. But what I quickly learned is that even the language that you
Mhm.
speak to yourself and the
Absolutely.
language that you internalize either to transmute or to absorb the energy that's around you is very very visceral. And I remember a time where I had, and you said it earlier in the podcast about free will. You have
Absolutely.
a choice.
Yes, you do.
You have a choice. People forget because the ego's like, well, I'm going through this really crappy time and I'm going to, but
Mhm.
it's poor me and victim me. Okay, that's fine too, but you don't have to stay there because you have free will,
That's right.
right?
And we
You
don't live in the
choose.
past. We don't live in the past. So if you have a situation in the past that's in your head all the time, it's taking up real estate, right? I want to use that space for what I'm going to do next. I don't want to live with that past that's already gone. I want to go ahead, go forward, learn. So if I'm letting that take up space in my head, it's going to be like my jammed up closet. Got too much junk in there. You have to delete some stuff or at least get rid of it because it's not helping you to grow. So, it's all about your human evolution and the evolution of your soul. And it can't happen if you're stuck in resentment and sadness and still mad about, a guy down the street that did something to you 50 years ago that, hurt your feelings. I mean, that's not going to help you. So it's all
Yes.
about moving forward and not staying stuck.
Yes, and I love that. And you have, so we've talked about Reiki, we've talked about channeling angels and angel messages. The ideas of angel messages, how can people get um, more in tune or not in tune? How can they build an awareness of the presence of angels around them?
Okay, so first thing I will tell you that I do teach people how to do that. So I
Oh,
have
oh
I
yes,
have
you do.
online and I have in-person workshops. However,
Yes.
The first thing I would tell people to do is to pray. And it could be something like, God, allow my guardian angel to guide me in any ways that are helpful to my growth. All right. That's permission. A prayer is permission. So any way you pray, God help or whatever, higher power, whatever you call your energy of God. The other thing I would tell you to do, and a lot of people that are in the realm will tell you to meditate, even if it's for just a few minutes at a time, and also be aware. So the more awareness you begin to notice about things around you, the more you're going to notice that we have signs, connections, and synchronicities. Synchronicity is probably the first way that people will notice, oh my gosh, this happened 3 times now. I heard your name 4 times in a row, so I signed up. A book fell on my toe in the middle of the store and it had your name on it. So weird coincidences is usually how people come to me, but they have to notice those coincidences in their life too. Hearing a word again and again, or a certain kind of thing crosses their view, and they're like, oh, maybe I should learn that. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to delve in and see what it is. So
Yes.
I actually have a free course on my website called Dip Your Toe In. And I posted it free. It was at first I had a small fee for it. And I said, I'm going to be free. People can take it, and it just kind of opens their mind up to things that are in the realm that they may not know about, that they can explore. There's links they can click to say, oh, what is this place? What is that? And it just opens their mind up. So have an open mind when you're on this journey. And don't
Yes.
take everything for gospel. There's a lot of people out there. You have to really use your feeling center and your gut to know if it's the right person, if that person's authentic for you, or if they're going to lead you astray. And sometimes you don't know until you get that gut instinct of, just doesn't feel right to me. They seem really nice, but I don't know. You have to use that instinct to know if you have the right connections.
Yes, and I like that when someone tunes into themselves and they actually are rooted in their authentic self,
Yeah.
they're better able to not only serve and listen to themselves better and serve by, I don't mean that by any selfish means. It's that you're serving the needs that you essentially your core soul needs, right?
Yes.
And then your soul will start piping up and saying, nope, not for me, nope, not for me, because
Yeah. Yeah.
you know how it resonates within your being, right? Which is
Yes.
really fascinating to me. We talked
Mm.
about the Akashic records, which is
Yes.
the actual plan. We've talked about angel, the presence of angels and how to pray. We've talked about Reiki, and healing modalities, I think, are coming more and more to the forefront for people to choose.
Hmm.
How does one choose? I think we've actually kind of answered this, but maybe you
Hmm.
have a different approach to it. Where would one start with choosing a healing modality? Is there one that you would recommend?
Of course, I'm going to recommend Reiki because I do it.
Yes.
However,
Yeah.
I would say experience each one. Go to an acupuncturist, go to a Reiki person, get a massage, try out different things. A lot of times you could go to like one of those conventions or healing things and try out different things. Sometimes something will really call to you. I know with me, Reiki called to me. I didn't know what it was when I first went for a session. I thought it was therapeutic touch. I had no idea, but I know I wanted to go for a session because my gut was telling me, you've got to try this. And after
Yeah.
that, I knew I had to learn it. However, it works with all other modalities as well. But if someone doesn't want to do that, there's other things they can learn to do. One of the things I do caution people about is, let's say they want to they want to be a medium, okay? Which there's some very wonderful ones that I know, and that kind of thing, and they're just at the start of the journey, I would really caution them to do a lot of inner work and make sure they know who they are and what their mission is before delving into that realm for a lot of reasons.
Yes.
If they're
Very
dealing
good.
with people that are stuck, the vibration of those people is very low, their souls are very low, and they can be tricked very easily if they can't discern what kind of energy they're dealing with. So I would always say make sure that your vibration is high, you've practiced different things, or you study with someone who is well practiced in that modality you're interested in before you decide to go all in. Experience it, try it out, then let it filter and see how you feel about it. I've trained Reiki people who don't want to work on people. They just want to use it for their self and for releasing old karma. And that's fine. They don't have to.
Wow.
So I've trained one man, he's at second level. He goes, I don't want to work with anybody. I'm just using it for my spiritual growth. I said, that's fine. That's great. If
Wow.
you ever want to use it on people, you come back. We'll brush up some of the things you need to know, and you can do that too. But for now, it's not necessary. Not everyone is meant to be a hands-on healer. Not everyone
Sure.
is meant to be a medium. We might have those abilities, but it may not be our path. I mean, I have mediumship abilities, but it's not what I want to do. So it's not my path. My path is the angels, communication, passing energy and passing information and light along to people. And that's guiding. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. And I've known it since I've been a little kid. So
Wow. I love that. I love that we have a lot of similarities too, like being a quieter child and
yeah,
all those
yeah.
different things. People actually thought that I was snobby in high school, and
Me
I
too.
I
I was
wasn't.
so quiet. I was so quiet in high school.
I was just observing. Like I
Me
was
too.
observing. I
Me
just
too.
watched
That was
and to
me.
see. Yeah, just and I had
Internalizing.
friends. I had great friends, and and I just wanted to watch. I wanted to see. I wanted to experience, and I wanted to feel.
That's very much me. And you're probably clairsentient like I am. So I,
I
I
think
would suck in energy from other people. I would know how they were feeling. I would observe their face and just like I could pick up small things that may be bothering them. And I was
yes,
also really quiet till I was about 22, 23 when I wanted to be a teacher. And I had to, get over like that shyness of being in front of a group. Now I love it. But at the time, it was very terrifying to me.
of
So,
course.
you have to, but I knew it was my mission. And if I couldn't get rid of that fear, I would be stopped from my mission. And I wanted to be a teacher, so which I did for 32 years, but I had to do what I had to do to get there. So, yeah, that's that.
I love that. I love that. I love your journey, and I love how you referenced your childhood and the similarities we have. And I can definitely see that you've chosen a path that your soul is probably just overjoyed with,
Oh,
right? And
I
this
love
is
it.
so fun. I love this.
It
How do
is.
you, how do you um, rejuvenate your own energy
Okay.
personally?
So here's a lesson I've learned. I'm a really busy person. Excuse me,
Yes,
a second.
no problem.
Excuse me. And sometimes in the past, I'd tend to overbook myself. And my husband
Yeah,
would say to me, "You're getting run down. What are you doing?" And he'd have to kind of like stop me from going a mile a minute, right? So one of the
absolutely.
things I've learned is not to double book sessions. So I might do, if I do Reiki, I might do 2 sessions in a day. Three would be the most I would do. Usually two, one or two. I would give myself a break between clients. I would take a day off, which is like my visit my grandson day, my grandson's day, or I would take, let's go for a walk or just relax. Gardening is great too. I do organic gardening, so pulling weeds and gardening is a good therapeutic thing to do. Taking
Yes.
some time off to take care of yourself, going for a massage, going for a session myself for Reiki or something else. But you
Yes.
have to do those. And especially as healers, we're probably the most guilty group of people for taking care of ourselves because we don't do it. And I
Right?
have to remind myself, almost writing it in the calendar, that I have to do certain things to take care of myself or I'll wear myself out. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Salt
Absolutely.
baths. That's a good one too. Epsom salt baths are really good.
Oh, yeah, that's a
Clear
good one.
your
I forgot
energy
about
field.
that one.
Yeah, I did that yesterday. And that's something that is our go-to. Like my husband too, he knows if he's not feeling right, he takes a hot bath. And it's
Yeah.
a luxury thing, but it also clears your energy field. So it's a
Yes.
good a good technique to bring into your healing, your self-healing.
What would be, and we still have a bit of time, I wanted to delve into what advice would you give any person's soul who wants to evolve these days?
Okay.
What piece of advice would you give?
I would say start with journaling about your emotions.
Yeah.
Start with reading information that's uplifting. Turn off the news. Don't get
Yeah.
involved with any conversations related to who's going to get elected. because you just steer clear and
Yeah, leave that over there.
don't converse in that realm. Don't post anything negative ever because it's on there forever. So even if
No.
you post something innocently that's like a negative, it's not going to go away. So you want to make sure that your mindset stays positive, your self-talk is positive, you open to ideas which are new, and don't be so set on what you think you know, because what you think you know may not be what it is, right? So just
Yes.
read inspiring things from other people, listen to things that are great, music. Just really do all you can to bring in a higher quality of energy into your mindset. Because what you spend time with, you're going to wind up doing. I always say, don't sit around at a barber shop because you're going to get a haircut. So unless you want a haircut, don't sit in a barber shop. So you don't want to sit with a bunch of complainers if because pretty soon they're going to pull you into their drama and it's not going to help you, mama, right? So
Yes.
you
Yeah.
have to stay positive, surround yourself with really good friends and positive people, and start cutting back on those people that drag you down. Even if they're a friend you've had for 99 years, if it's someone that's really negative, eliminate the time you spend, like really pare it down because in effect they affect your energy and you want to try to stay in a positive mindset.
Yes.
That would really be the helpful advice I would give.
I love that. And it
Yeah,
reminds me of, trees lose their leaves. They don't hang on to their dead leaves. They let
that's
them
right.
go every
Let them
season,
go.
right?
Yes.
And that's, if you use that as a metaphor for letting go of what's not
Mm-hmm.
serving your self
Mm-hmm.
right now. And this is not a linear thing that we do. We get rid of stuff all the time. It could be a physical thing. It could be an emotional thing. It could be a human thing where we've just kind of separated from someone that is not
Mm-hmm.
vibing with you. All of this stuff is the paring down of a soul that will be absolutely finely attuned to light,
That's right. That's right. And
right?
it's great. And I think when you can do that more for yourself, the world
Yeah.
opens up and it's a more joyful place. Because when you don't live with
Yes.
that light inside of you, then depression hits and it's just a horrible drudgery where it should be more like you enter it like a child almost, childlike wonder of all things. And that's what they say in the Bible, when you cross over, enter like a child. I'm going to be running through like, hey, how you doing? I'm back. I'm back.
No,
You know,
I
not
love that.
not that I'm in a rush to get there, mind you, but that's
No,
the way I would like to be joyful in my life. And also, when I'm done with it for this time around, that's what I want to do. I want to go see my dad and my mom and my sister and just, really, really give it my all. But not
I
yet.
love, but not, you're not. I
But
know
not
your
yet.
soul's like, no, I'm still playing here. My mission is right
Yeah,
here.
yeah, I'm
I'm
not
doing
moving
it.
anywhere.
So
Yeah.
tell us, that was such a beautiful summary of your soul and how people can help themselves as well. Because again, it takes away the woo woo. Just stop watching the news.
Yeah.
Just turn it
Yes.
off. It doesn't have to be like a $4,000 day at the spa,
No,
even though
no.
if you
Uh-uh.
can afford it, go right ahead. Right? Just
That's right.
turn it off.
Turn off the news. Yep. Don't listen to that complainer for an hour. Cut them off.
I know.
Yeah.
What are you working on these days? Tell us a little bit about your
Yeah.
initiatives that people need to know about.
Okay. So my podcast is called The Light Walker's Path, Grow Your Spirit with Rosemary, airing on Bold Brave TV every Tuesday, live at 10 a.m. Eastern. And then the podcast will go into archive, which should be listed on that site. Right now, there's three of them. I have one that they didn't post yet, but I did four of them so far for them. That's there. I'm publishing my third spiritual book. It's called Wisdom, Sages, and Angels, and it's a workbook for spiritual growth. My other one, Inspired a Book of the Heart, is a workbook that came out this year as well, and that's about angels and about self-growth. Divine Messengers is my first spiritual book. I also write for primary and middle grade fiction, and I'm working on a YA, a fairy tale for adults, and that's coming out hopefully this year. I've got things in the works for that. I'm doing a workshop in New Jersey on intuition in June, and I'll be at a book event May 4th and 5th at Brook Hollow Winery in New Jersey, selling my books and my mugs. And then I'm also always available for Zoom sessions, one-to-ones, and Reiki also. So, a lot going on. But again, I have
Yes,
to have those days between that I'm just playing, going to the
absolutely.
beach or walking in the woods.
But you set a good example, like a not a good, it's a phenomenal example of living your passion, and that it doesn't really feel like work, right?
Yeah,
When you're
yeah,
doing it, like
yeah,
this is an extension of your soul. And
it
then,
is.
yes, you do get tired. I'm not saying we're superhuman, but you're getting up in the morning and you're revitalized because you are aligned.
Absolutely. And that's part of the joy of just doing what you're supposed to be doing is that you feel energized by it. And the one most wonderful thing is when you deal with a client and they say you've changed my life. You've helped me, you've shifted me. I've made a change because of you and thank you. And to me, I just see myself as a signpost pointing, and they follow my hand and oh yeah, I'll try that. But it makes
Yes.
me so happy to see it just the same way when I used to teach kids and I saw like the joy light up in their eyes, that thrills me even when I see it in adults. It's like that's exciting for me to be
It
able to
is exciting.
help. Yeah. Yep.
Yes, and I think that idea of service is even more needed these days, and people
Yes.
are looking and searching. How can people, so they can find you on your website at
Yes. D.com.
www.rosemaryd.com. Is
Mhm.
there another way they can contact you?
That's probably the quickest way. I'll give you my email too. They can contact me at info@rosemaryd.com. And they could email me if they need something. I do have a part on my website too. If they see something they don't know what it is and they want a little discovery session on Zoom, they can sign up. Um, there's a place they can click and ask for a short session just to see who I am and see if our energies are vibing and if our mission, like they're looking at something like, yeah, I think I'm interested in that. They can ask me. So, yeah,
Perfect.
yeah,
And I'm very honored to have connected with you today. It's always a pleasure to connect with you, and
you
you're
too.
sharing that synergy is a rare occurrence these days, especially because we're all on Zoom. But I still felt that we have such a
Yeah.
really nice cadence with each other. So I'm very grateful for your time and your presence and your light here with us today. And we wishing you all the best with all of the efforts that you are and initiatives that you're going through, and we are sustaining
Yeah.
you in
Thank
light
you.
as well as you sustain us. And for my listeners, we again, my name is Roshni Sharma-Fleming, and I'm the CEO and founder of Stillfire Healing Inc. And we always say here at Stillfire Healing, spend your energy wisely. Thank you for tuning in.
Oh,
Take care.
thank you. Thank you so much.